and welcome to the Vlogging Pod. Today, I want to share what I've been digging into about birthright citizenship, the Supreme Court's latest decision, and what it really means for everyday people, not just in legal theory, but in how it could shape families and communities if we don't pay attention and push back together. Let's start with what actually happened. The Supreme Court did not take away birthright citizenship. They didn't rule that the Constitution no longer protects children born in the United States. What they did was limit how federal judges can block policies nationwide. Up until now, if a president put out a new order, like trying to deny citizenship to children born to undocumented parents, a single judge could issue what's called a nationwide injunction. That meant the entire order got frozen in every state all at once, while the courts figured out it was legal. The Supreme Court has now said that that's not how it should work. They ruled that lower courts don't have the power to freeze an order for the entire country by default. Instead, any injunction has to be tied to the people who actually sued and the region where the court has authority. So what used to be one big legal shield is now many smaller shields that depend on where you live or who stands up to file a case. But just because the path is narrower doesn't mean it's closed. States can file their own lawsuits. Local judges can still block the policy within that state. And there's a bigger idea too. Let's suppose an organization as big as the ACLU or a skilled civil rights lawyer put together a case with real people, one from every state, all showing they'd be directly harmed by this policy. And if they could prove that people across the entire country face the same threat, a judge could still issue a broader injunction to protect all those plaintiffs at once. So the Supreme Court didn't slam the door. They just made the path steeper. Now, let's talk about what this could actually do under the law. If the policy ever goes fully into effect by the Constitution, citizens supposed to be guaranteed to anyone born here. If this order were somehow upheld, it would apply moving forward. It would block children born to undocumented parents from becoming citizens starting now, not retroactive. By the letter of the law, it shouldn't strip citizenship from people who already have it. But there's where we have to be real. This administration has already shown they'll push past the lines whenever they think they can. We've already seen cases where children born here were still deported alongside their parents, or where ICE has separated families and made legal fights almost impossible for people who can't afford lawyers or don't have the right paperwork at the right moment. So on paper, the rules sound clean. In practice, that's not always true when power isn't kept in check. Then there's the fear many people have right now about something darker. The viral video of TikTok where a man with a Latino-sounding last name said a police officer told him he had been removed from the database that claimed he has not been verified. There are no public records to my know-how as far as my search patterns, and no FOI requests so far have found evidence there's a hidden purge of Hispanic names. But just because no one has proved it doesn't mean we can't fully relax either. If a government is willing to bend the rules for so-called technical errors in a database could easily become quiet ways to erase people's rights on paper, making them fight to prove who they are all over again. We should stay cautious but grounded. Right now, there's no hard proof I can find, but the fear is not too far-fetched. People have asked if we could stop this with a big petition signed by everyday citizens. The answer is a petition alone doesn't carry the weight of law, but it can help connect people to the real legal action. When people sign, they can be organized into a class action lawsuit if they have real harm to show. That's where collective standing comes in. Real families, real harm, real stakes. That's how you force the courts to look at the bigger picture once again. So, where does this leave us? The Supreme Court didn't actually kill the birthright citizenship, but they did make the fight harder by scattering the defenses. States, families, civil rights lawyers, and everyday people now have to link arms and fight real cases together, not alone. Where fear spreads rumors, we need facts. Where facts reveals injustice, we need numbers. It's easier to erase one voice than 1,000 standing shoulder to shoulder. If we want to protect the promise that if you were born here, you belong here, then we have to show up locally, legally, and together. Today's sources come from CBS News, The Guardian, Time Magazine, Snopes, ICE, FOIA, Portal, NBC New York, Vox. Thanks for listening. Until next time, bye-bye for now.